People with disabilities can be a strong asset to your business, bringing new perspectives and dedication to the job. Companies that hire people with disabilities are tapping into a pool of skilled, dedicated workers and taking further steps to build a diverse workforce that is reflective of the world in which we all live and work.
Diversity in the workplace is positive for our customers, it's positive for our employees, it's a representation of our community as it is.
We partner with an organisation that provides support for people with developmental disabilities. Within the environment at Staples, it's very much part of what we do and who we are, having people with disabilities on board and part of the team.
We want to represent and be able to serve sort of all members of our community. Also, I think, for customers coming in, it better represents this is who we are as as St. Paul, as Patagonia, as, we want everybody to be represented in our store and to feel comfortable in our store.
People with disabilities continue to experience significant barriers to employment despite their skills and desire to work. The most common barriers are the belief that people with disabilities cannot work and employer concerns about hiring people with disabilities, which are often rooted in fear rather than in fact.
Yes, I am able to work, even though I have a disability. The skills I try to bring to the workplace are a different perspective than everybody else on the team, and a sort of non-clinical perspective on disability. I just really like what I'm doing, and I really like working on behalf of people.
And not everyone in the public knows what it's like for people with disabilities to have jobs. I work a lot in a database program, and some of my work is done in Outlook as well, sending emails and receiving them, etc. What I love most about my job is the level of independence that I have, and I really like my colleagues.
Everybody brings a different perspective from their own life. So sometimes I think I can phrase a question a little bit differently, or think of an aspect of an intervention that might be more helpful to a given population.
I feel like concerns that people might have about hiring someone with a disability are they going to take more supervision?
Can they really do the job I need them to do? How much is it going to cost me?
In my experience, that hasn't been the case.
You never know what people think they see when they look at you. I hope at work, when they look at me, they see a competent employee. Fingers crossed.
We know that employers may be concerned that a person with a disability may require an accommodation that will be costly or difficult to provide. But the reality is that the majority of accommodations provided by employers are simple and inexpensive, some of them costing nothing to provide, while many people with disabilities do not require any accommodations to do their jobs.
One of the false beliefs that people have of people with disabilities in the workplace is that they are always going to be needing something. And I find that is quite the contrary. For me, being in a wheelchair, I don't need help from anybody at work, and I can get around everywhere.
I have cerebral palsy, which is loosely described as a group of conditions that impairs motor movements. For me, that means that I can't use my arms and legs, and I use a power wheelchair for mobility. For other people, it means something completely different. It's a broad range. The major accommodation that I have is I have a bigger cube that my chair fits in. And then the computers there were a touchpad, but I couldn't use a touchpad, so they had a mouse in the administrator's office that I got to use. And that was really helpful.
Sometimes employers worry that a person with a disability will not be able to get to work or may require additional time off for medical reasons. But the majority of employers who have hired a person with a disability have found that this is not the case. In fact, many employers have found exactly the opposite, that people with disabilities in their companies have ended up being some of their most reliable employees.
When I started managing the St. Paul store, Bill was already working there, so that was a couple of years ago. Quickly, I realized that it was a big benefit to the store. I mean, we've talked about morale and sort of how staff loves Bill, but Bill's a super hard worker. I mean, just, whatever the project is, he's excited to tackle it, puts his head down, gets it done. My expectations were blown away by working with Bill at the store.
When I think of people with disabilities, I think reliability, I think accuracy, I think dedication,
Contagious positivity,
Organized,
unique perspectives,
driven,
feeling of improved morale, interaction among people of all levels of the organization.
that brings up everyone on the team to work harder, and they're inspired by their coworkers.
We might bring a different perspective to any job that we do, even if it doesn't seem like we would. Look at Microsoft, because they're hiring people with autism now. I would tell someone who's thinking about hiring someone with a disability to go for it.
Go for it.
go for it.
I would encourage all managers and supervisors to consider people with disabilities just like you would consider anybody else applying for the position.
What are your biggest reservations? Some of them may not be true, so think about that. You might be pleasantly surprised if you take a risk on someone who maybe hasn't had as many opportunities.
The broader your workplace, the better you can serve the people coming in.
I think a general well-being across the environment and just a feeling of enhanced community.
People may think that, it's a service, this is something we can put in our report or whatever. And for me, it's been good business.
As you have seen, people with disabilities can be a strong asset to your business. Companies that hire people with disabilities are tapping into a pool of skilled, dedicated workers and taking further steps to build a diverse workforce that is reflective of the world in which we all live and work. Thank you for watching.